In this video, we are going to record the second part of data analysis expressions, the DAX. In the first video, a few segments were considered and recorded. We are moving towards the conditional expression. The conditional expression function, if is to be used, and start by defining the expression using the if function. This is the first example of using the if function. By using the if function, we can build the conditional logic. The formula should start with the equal to sign, as it is the requirement for all of the DAX expressions. Then you have to write down the if in the capital letters. In the parentheses, you have to define three parameters. One parameter is the conditional expression, what condition is there. And if the condition is true, then you have to define the value here, which is the true value. True value means the value that you want to use if the condition is true. And then you have to use an expression which relate to the if the condition is false. So if the condition is false, if the condition is true, these are the different options that we can use with the if expression. In this slide, we want to highlight any record where the cost of the spare part is over 2,000 pound. If the spare part cost is 2,000 pound, then we have to write down the item is too much or too high, or if it is smaller than 2,000 or equal to 2,000, we can say that the price is reasonable. So this is the code that we are going to use for using the if expression. Click on the data view and select the stock table. In the stock table, we have to write down the new column command. In the home tab, click on new column. And new column name, excessive part cost. Excessive part cost is equal to, here we use the if function, if in the capital letter, and we have to define the condition. The condition is spare parts is greater than 2,000. Spare part is greater than 2,000, comma, if the true result we have to use the double quotes because we have to define a string here. That string should be in double quotes. Too high, and then comma, false expression, reasonable. Bracket closed, press enter. A new column will be inserted at the end, and the name of the column is excessive cost. If it is a conditional column, it is based on the spare parts. If the value of spare part is greater than 2,000, then it is high, otherwise it is reasonable. The spare part column is, this is the spare part column. Here we have 400. 400 is smaller than 2000. You can see it reasonable. And all of the 400s are reasonable. But there are these two figures. 1250 is also reasonable because we have mentioned 2000. If some value is more than 2000, that will be the too high. These are the too high values. Spare part is 2570 is 2570, where the spare part is 2570. All these values are represented with the too high and so on. Here we are going to create an alert. This alert is based on the selling price. If the selling price of the vehicle is less than the half of the average price for all cars, then we have to create an alert of too low, otherwise it is too high. Now this can be done with the stock table, a new column, and using the if function. What if function is to be implemented? That if function is if the cost price is greater than or equal to the average price of the cost price time 2, then the price is too high, otherwise the price is okay. This is the okay and the high price alert. Now click the stock table from the data view, then in the home tab, new column. New column is equal to if cost price is greater than or equal to, this is the operator, is equal to what? Average of cost price multiply by 2, twice of the average price, then it is too high. Price too high, comma, double quotes, price okay, and parenthesis closed. What this function is doing, this function is doing if the cost price is greater than or equal to the average of the cost price times 2, double of the average price, then true expression is price too high and the false expression is price okay. And the name of the column I want to change, that name of the column will be the price check. Press enter. Error. What the error is, we have to think out too many arguments were passed to the average function, and the maximum argument count is 1. It means we have to close the average function with the 1 bracket instead of the 2 brackets. I think it is now fine. Still we have an error. 1 more bracket we have. That bracket should be closed here. DAX function, price is too high, price is too low, is indicating no, it's fine. The price okay tag we have in the one of them is the price is too high. Where the cost there the cost price is this 99,000, and here we have the try 155,000. These are the two prices which are very high. Otherwise, the prices are if the price is smaller than to the double of the average cost, then the price is okay. If the price is larger than uh, the double of the average price, then the price is assumed to be too high. There are the different operators which we can use for conditions. If equal to sign, exactly equal to, not equal to, we have to write down the greater, less than, greater than, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So these are called relational operators. Here are the different if conditions. You can apply these conditions wherever it is required. If part cost is greater than 500, the check parts, otherwise it's okay. Second is and. If and the two conditions are within the and, what that two conditions are? Condition number one, comma, condition number two. So how the and operator works? And operator work and condition one, comma, condition two. So if condition one is true, condition two is false, the overall condition is assumed to be false, and the false expression will be executed. If both of the conditions are true, there is only one way to the high cost. High cost will be assumed only when the both conditions are fulfilled, because these two conditions are joined with the AND operator. So AND operator means the both of the condition must be true to have to run the true conditions expression. Or operator, if this condition is true, this is false, then the overall condition will be assumed to be true. If any one of the two condition is fulfilled, then high cost. But if both conditions are false, then okay. Or means any one of the expression is true, then or will be true. Another operator is the not operator. We can also use the not operator. Is error parts cost, then check part, otherwise it is blank. True if this condition, and we have true, otherwise we have false. The true, return true. It will return true as an output, it will return false as an output. If the data is number, the if is number, if there is a number in the part cost field, then it is assumed to be true, otherwise there is a data error. What the data error is, numeric data was assumed, but the string data is there. So that is a numeric, that is a data error. A flag is generated by the is number. So is number is a built-in function that check whether the field is a numeric field or a string field. If the data is text field, if it is a text field, then part cost. So it is a data error because text field, we are assuming that a number there. Otherwise, it is true or blank. But if this part cost is a text, not a number, then there is a data error. So we have odd even check, we have logical check, and these are the logical operators, double and A and D, and description is A and D and double and. So we can write down the condition as instead of using the AND function, as I defined earlier, and condition 1, comma condition 2. This can also be written as condition 1 and double ampersand condition 2. The both work same. Condition 2. These two are identical. So we can either use logical operator and, or we can use function and. Both are same. This is the end of chapter number 11. Adding measures. Up to now we were discussing about adding columns. So there are another option is adding measure. So adding column, new columns are added. And adding measure. Another thing is adding measure. If we want to calculate like total, average, sum, count, these will be stored instead of a column. It is stored in cells. Most of the time it is based on a single entry. If I have a cost price column, we have a cost price column and we want to calculate the sum of the cost price column, sum of cost price column. So the sum of cost price column will be a single entry that may be stored in a measure. The measure is another element in DAX, measure indicating that we have a mostly we have a single value to be stored in a cell. So that measures can be added. So adding new column, adding new measure, these are the two tabs. And even though we have another tab which is known as a new table. So new table, new column, new measure. The new measure, you can see a calculator there. We are calculating the sum, we are counting the rows, we are uh, computing the average. So these all entries are the single quantities and that can be stored in a measure instead of a column. The number of cars sold are to be calculated, and how many cars are sold in the stock table. We have to count rows, and that is stored in the number of cars sold measure. Open the car sales data with new columns.pbix file from the chapter 12 folder and click on the stock table and data view. Stock table and data view. Then in the home tab, these are the options: new measure, quick measure, new column, new table. So I have to click on the new measure. A formula, we have to type a formula here. The name of the new measure is number of cars sold is equal to, and we want to count the rows. So we have a function count rows, and we want to count the rows in the stock table. How many rows are there? And this count will be stored in a measure. This is the new measure which, so no new column will be added because this is not a column. This is basically a single entry. So you can have, after pressing the enter, you have a value of a number of cars sold. This is the measure. If you double click on this measure, then there is no response. So how can I check the value is correct or not? To just click on the report button. Here I am just clicking a table visual, and in the table visual I am not going to construct the table. I want to just use this new measure developed earlier. That was number of, this is So we can see that the number is 461. This number 461 is there, but this is a single number. So instead of using a table, the appropriate visual is the card visual. So I'm just converting it to the card visual. Now you can see that we have 461 number of cars sold. So this is a measure that can be represented with the help of card visual, because it is a single value or the single entry. There are the different functions that we can use for measures, like average, stock table, cost price. The average is calculated and it is stored as a single entry in a measure, which is new created measure. So you have to specify the name of the measure during the DAX operation. You can calculate the maximum value of the prices in the invoice line table, and we can calculate the minimum value of the sale price from the invoice line table. So these are the three functions. Any one of us can use these functions to calculate the minima of a column, to compute the maximum of a column, and the average of the column. Even though we can use the sum function or the count function. Sum function or count function can also be used for defining these measures. The count function will count the number of rows, as we did in the previous slide. And here we can see that the other functions are also available. You can see the cross table measure here. In this cross table measure means we have to compute the measure based on the another element of the table, of another table. So we have an invoice line table and click the new measure. So we want to create a new measure in an invoice line table. And the name of the measure is the cost plus spare margin. This is the name of the measure. The name of the measure is equal to the sum function. The sum function of what? The sum function of the invoice line sale price. The sum of the sale price from the invoice line table minus the cost price of the stock table is sum minus the spare part price of the stock table is sum. So cost price minus spare parts, these two numbers are subtracted from the sale price. Then the cost plus spare margin is calculated. Filtering the data in a measure. So we can filter the data in a measure. Suppose brilliant cars tell to two types of client, dealers and wholesalers. As a part of your ongoing sale analysis, we need to isolate the dealer sales stream. The next procedure explain how to do that. So we have a different procedure for dealers, and another formula we have to use for the wholesaler. Then a new measure is computed depending on these two. Creating the text filter, calculate to the dealer sales. Invoice line table, in the field list, home ribbon, click the new measure, dealer sales, calculate function is to be used. The calculate function gives us an opportunity to put a condition. We want to calculate the sum according to this condition. So how calculate function work? Calculate function work in a way you have to write down the after equal to sign, calculate in the capital letter. Calculate what? In the round bracket, calculate what? So either we want to calculate the sum or average or count. So you have to define the calculation function here, comma. Then you have to specify the condition. Condition is what? Client type equal dealer. So this is a condition. Condition you have to specify here. Condition. And here the calculation function. What to calculate? Calculate what? Calculate what? What you want to calculate? Either you want to calculate sum or average or count, comma, depending on this condition. If the condition is true, the process is to be calculated in the different way. So only for the dealers, this measure is based on the dealers, or this formula is based on the dealers. So if the dealers data is there, then we can have this type of calculation. Click on the invoice line table and data view, home button, new measure. We have to write down the name of the measure is the dealer sale equal to. Now we have to use the calculate function. How calculate function work? We have to define two things in the calculate function. One thing is calculate. What we want to calculate? We want to calculate sum function. Then sum of what? Sum of the invoice line sale price. So we have to specify the field. Sum of what? Invoice line sale price. This is the invoice line sale price, comma. So the sum of the invoice line sale price has to be computed. Clients table. From the clients table, client type is equal to dealer. Here you have to place the closing bracket of the sum function, then press comma. And from the client table, we have to select the client type. Client type is equal to what? Is equal to the dealer. So we have to specify the dealer here. Dealer, bracket close, press enter. So now formula of measure is computed. The name of the measure is dealer sale, and this is included in the invoice line table. Dealer sale. This is the new measure which is created right now. Now I have to check how the data is represented in this. So you have to click on visual. From this visual, you have to click a table view, and you have to specify the two things. One is the make and other is the dealer sale. Make, and from the invoice line table, we have to select dealer sale. If some fields are difficult to find, we can use this search. So I use the search dealer, the dealer sale is there. Choose this one. Now you can see we have different dealer sales, and this can be specified and can be shown with the help of this table. So this is the table in which the dealer sale is represented. You can see the make column and the dealer sale and the total will be there. If we put this dealer sale into a card, then this total cost will be shown. 16401070, that is a single number that will be represented. But if we are representing this with the make column, then the dealer sale for the individual dealers are also be calculated there. Calculate function can also be used for representing the multiple criteria. Suppose we want to have the two criteria. One is the client type is dealer, and the client is credit worthy true. So these are the two conditions, and we want to put these two conditions into the calculate function. So we can put the more than one condition into the argument of calculate function. So we can see here calculate function, the sum, that is the formula to be calculated. Sum is to be calculated. Sum invoice line of sale price. But this sum is depending on what? The two conditions. The condition number one, client type ID is dealer, and client is credit worthy is equal to the true. So if these conditions are fulfilled, then the sum of the invoice line prices are to be computed. Otherwise, if the condition is not true, then these two criteria will not be implemented, and the sum will not be calculated. So you can see here that credit worthy dealers and the dealer sales and the make is basically the companies: Aston Martin, Bentley, MGB, Rolls Royce, Triumph, TVR. So these are the different makes and dealer sales, and this table can be constructed with the help of visuals in a report. We want to isolate the percentage of the credit-worthy dealer sales relative to the dealer sales. We can do this by using the previous two measures calculations, dealer sales and credit-worthy dealer sales, in a single measure to obtain the desired result. Using the multiple filters, credit-worthy dealer sales percentage is equal to calculate function. Calculate what? Sum of the invoice line table as well as sales price. Now we have to define the criterias, multiple filters. Client type is dealer. Client is worthy is equal to true, and divided by the another calculate we have. And what that calculate is sum of the invoice line sale or client type is equal to the dealer. So they are implementing the multiple criteria here in this calculate function, and the output is shown here. Now we can use another function which is called all selected function. All selected function means all rows are selected. The calculate function sum of the invoice line and all selected, and this is an argument of the divide function. The divide function sum of invoice line, then we have a calculate all selected, means you are basically removing the filters. So these filters are removed by all selected. It means this command is to be implemented on the all rows, not on the selected rows. In the same way, all except, another function is all except. It is implemented except only these rows. So it will be implemented on all rows except only these rows. the stock table, stock make. This is the end of chapter 12, analyzing data over time. We can have the data, if we have a date columns, from the date column we can extract the year, the month, or the day. So these are the date functions. The year will be extracted. If the entire date time is there in the date function, in the date column, but the year to be extracted, the month to be extracted, the day to be extracted, the week numbers to be hours and minute and second, even though we have a different times option as well as the different month or year or day options. Now function can be used for the current date and time. Last day of month can be have EO month. End of month, EO month means the end of month. End of month can be have last day of month. So if the date is there, but that date will be automatically switched to the last date of the month. Current date, current time, and lets you enter the date. You can enter the date and a specific level. The date can be entered as the year, the month, the date, and we have a time format. We can change the time by 1957 with the 24-hour times. The difference of the two dates can be calculated by the date difference. Dated if, not if, date, this is date, this is date difference. Difference between the two dates can be calculated with the help of, you have one date here and a year. The current year will be used in this case. The date, this date, and the year, this year. These two dates, difference of these two days will be extracted. Date and time formatting, we have the different time format, different date format. These are the different format, D, M, 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 Y, Y, Y. And format function we have. The format function will give the opportunity to format date, to change the date format or the time format. Now advanced visualization, tables, matrices, cards, multi-rows. So I am leaving this recording here and letting you to complete the remaining slides of this lab to yourself and will implement. Thank you very much for this video.